Good morning, everyone. We are extremely happy and proud today, as today we are launching our live sessions on compliances also with none other than our very own expert who had been helping Cosmic and Cosmic Consultants clients from decade and more. And who is he? I am super proud to tell about him and introduce him to you because he is also one of our mentor and advisor. And that's Mr. Sanjay Rane. Sanjay sir, welcome to the show. Cosmic में तो you had been apart from years altogether now, but welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So just to tell you in brief in two lines about Sanjay sir, because he has 40 years of experience in compliances and HR field. And to tell about 40 years, I am not going to take 40 minutes, but I'll try to sum it up in 40 seconds. So he is the one Jinko, we literally wake up in the middle of the night and ask about any compliances issue, and he is bang on right there to help us with the superb ideas and with the superb experience that he carries. He has seen lockdown or lockouts, he has seen strikes, he has seen unions, he has seen every industry as of now. But I would invite Rane sir himself to tell us a little more about his journey. Sanjay sir.
Thank you, Supriya, for my great introduction with the participants. My name is Sanjay Rane. I postgraduated from personal management from Nasik, and last 38 years I work with different companies in Indian and multinational companies. Most of them I was holding the IR head positions or HR head positions. 2014 I retired from one of the multinational company located in Pune automobile sector, and up to 16 I was there as a consultant. Then 16 I started my own business as a Sanjay Rane Associates, and I am a director of DMCFS, Deccan Management Consultant Finishing School. So particularly Sanjay Rane Associates is in the field of the labor compliances, new factory setup, then IR situation, handling IR situation in different unions and different managements, and all the new coming up industries, their licensing and their compliances, and also closing the industries by a legal way. Then DMCFS is a company who provides the different types of the management trainees, as well as NIM trainees and your NAPS and NSDC trainees to the different organizations. We have more than 8,500 trainees in the pan India and with different multinational and national companies. Thank you very much for inviting me in these sessions. Let's start, Supriya.
Thank you so much, Sanjay sir. And not to forget that he's also the advisor and expert to Cosmic Consultants.
Yeah.
So, sir, now looking at your varied background, what comes to my mind, and I personally know you from around my childhood. So, what comes to my mind first is why did you wanted to speak about HR related laws in IT industry? Why
Okay, good
IT?
question. Good questions. Particularly the HR person in IT industry or the HR head in IT industry, they are mostly into the recruitment and staffing business. Compliances, they knows very little and not able to handle compliances situations properly. One of my client in Pune, they are the vendor of big multinational companies manufacturing cars in India. So they have sent one questionnaire to that company about the applicability of the various labor laws, and that HR head has written that this act is not applicable to our industry. The matter goes to their legal team, and the legal team has hold the bill of that company, because they said that how you say that this as is not applicable to you. Then the company MD contacted me, and I explained them properly that these all act is applicable to you and we have to comply all the acts in a government authorities. Then after continuously follow up with the company and everything, so I complied all the compliances for last 2 3 years, and then subsequently that original company has released their payment. So now that company also come to know that these are the act applicable to us, particularly the IT industry. So most of the IT HR heads is not aware about the compliances what they are applicable to them. So this is the background of the so I have taken this topic today because IT company is not well aware about the applicability of the various labor laws to the IT sectors.
My
I will
goodness.
just yeah. Uh,
This is really eye-opening, sir. That if you're not complying to the laws of India, which is applicable to you, you may lose out on your business. So this one key takeaway we have right with the first question that we had put up to Sanjay sir. Sir, with that, you just said that there are a lot of laws which are applicable to IT industry also. Can you just tell us quickly what are the laws that are applicable to IT industry?
Okay, just I will go one by one law and their applicability, why it is applicable to the IT industry. So
Sure.
everyone will aware about the applicability. So first thing is that Shops and Establishment Act. Huh? So once you register the company under the Company Act, it's a partnership company or own company or public limited company, whatever it may be, this registration is the mandatory at the first level. Then some HR head thinks that already we are registered with the company secretary, but it's not that. Say while starting the company, we need to register the company either in the Factories Act or Shops and Establishment Act. So out of these two, one registration is compulsory for all the industries, including factory and shops and establishment. If the company having a factory in the MIDC area or in private MIDC area, the Factories Act is applicable. But if the company having their head office in city where there is no manufacturing activity carried out, we need to take a shop and establishment license. Like that, the IT industry, they are not manufacturing anything, so they are into the Shops and Establishment Act. So their registration is compulsory for all the IT industry. Then come to the employees provident fund organizations. So generally everybody is well about the provident fund organizations. So it is applicable for 20 and above to all the companies, all the Shops and Establishment Act. So provident fund is compulsory for 20 and above. Then coming to the ESI Act, Employment State Insurance Act. This is a compulsory for 10 and above to all the companies and factories, including shops and establishment and the IT industry also. One more act is that Workmen Compensation Act. So this is the applicability is where ESIC is not applicable, then the Workmen Compensation Act automatically applicable to that company. So under the Workmen Compensation Act, we have to, in case of the disablement or anything, we have to pay the compensation to the workmen. And there is one provision that annual return we have to forward to the Deputy Commissioner of Labor as a compliance as part of that. ESIC coverage is, there is a limit for the ESIC coverage. Below 21,000 monthly gross is ESIC coverage. Below that, all are coverable under the ESIC Act. Then coming to the Payment of Bonus Act. Most of the IT companies is not aware whether bonus is applicable to them or not. But Bonus Act is applicable to them, and we have to pay the Bonus Act as per the law. That is 20 and above employees are there, so we have to pay the bonus. Bonus Act, in short, I will tell you, the employee drawing wages, basic plus DA is below 21,000 or basic is below 21,000, ESI Act is applicable. And there is a lot of provisions that set A, set B, and set C, that is allowable of surplus, available of surplus, and bonus register. So depending upon the profit money available for the distribution of the bonus, we have to pay from 8.30% to the 20% bonus as per the law. So this is applicable to the IT industry also. And some confusion is that okay, now we are paying as a incentive to the employees. Can it be a bonus? No, it is not a bonus. It is an incentive. One of my client has decided to pay incentive on 31st of March. But bonus is suppose is a link to the profit ratio of the company. So the balance sheet close on 31st of March. How you are going to decide your profit before 31st of March? So bonus has to be paid onwards April to November end at any time, depending on the availability of the profit. Hello, hello, hello,
I'm
hello.
there. I'm there.
Yeah, I think it is disconnected. Okay. Now the next question, next is the Payment of Gratuity Act. Gratuity Act is also applicable to all the companies, including IT sector, and their linkage is that we have to pay gratuity on the last basic draw after completion of 5 years of the service. And if the 6 month is completed, then we have to consider the full year. Below 6 months, we will not consider that year for the gratuity. And it is that total basic divided by 26 into 15 days is the calculation of the formula into number of years. Whatever amounts come, that we have to pay to the gratuity. Again, there is a question that there are a lot of forms in the gratuity, but form 1 has to be displayed on the notice board continuously, that who is the controlling authority of the gratuity. Second thing, that the gratuity person who is claiming the amount has to be claimed in a specific format, and the gratuity has to be paid in a specific format to the employee. Okay, this is a compulsory. In case of there is no problem, even if we pay directly check to the employee, there is nothing is wrong. But when the legal matter is there, then we have to complete all the formality in a legal way only and legal format only. Then coming to the Minimum Wage Act. Minimum Wage Act is applicable to all, but generally the IT industry is going to pay over and above minimum wage. So there is little bit there is no act applicable to them because they are always paying above minimum wage. So minimum wage for shops and establishment is defined in the act, and we have to pay above minimum wages. Now it is around 11,500 is the minimum wage, but generally all software company is paying over and above. So there is no much more complications in this act. Then coming to the HRA Act. HRA Act is also applicable to them. Your 5% of your basic plus DA is to be paid as a HRA. It is a compulsory to all the companies. Then Contract Labor Abolitions and Regulation Act. Most of the companies is not aware about this act. Actually, your setup is there. There is a contract labor are employed. So contract labor CLRA, that's short, it is called as CLRA. It is applicable to all the companies, including IT companies. If you are appointed as a contractor for housekeeping, canteen, gardening, or whatever it may be, they are covered under the CLRA Act. So CLRA Act minimum that if you are more than 50 contract labor, then company has to take a registration that is called as the RC, registration certificate from Assistant Commissioner of Labor. And if the contractor is having strength more than 50, then he has to take the license from the ACL authorities. There are two provisions are applicable to them. Then again, their PF, whether the contractor is paying the PF regularly or not, contractor is paying ESIC regularly or not, contractor is paying Maharashtra Labor Welfare Fund contributions regular or not, that is responsibility comes to the principal employer. That is responsibility is our. So generally my recommendation is there that every bill has to be passed when the contractor has please confirm that the contractor has paid all the dues regularly and in time, then the liability will not come on the principal employer, otherwise all the liability will come on the principal employer. So generally, the audit has to be conducted by third party, and the report has to be collected from that auditor, So it will be a documentary proof that we have all the compliant companies. And for minor compliances, no government officer will not give a trouble or fine to you. Then next is the Equal Remuneration Act. So equal remuneration in earlier stage, if you go to the any company or any factory, there are different wages for male and female. Generally, if the male is 100% per day, the female is going to pay 80 rupees per day. But by this act, we have to pay equal wages for equal gender, either gender. So this act is applicable to all the companies, but generally software company it is not happening. So it is not a very close observation required for that. Then professional tax, everyone is well aware about the professional tax. It is applicable to all depending upon the earning and their slab. They were. Then next to that there is a labor welfare fund, Maharashtra Labor Welfare Fund called as MLWF. It's applicable twice in a year, particularly the supervisor and below category. Manager category is not included in the law. Supervisor and below category is a part of the and we have to deduct their contribution, and three times more than we have to add from management side, and we have to pay online to the government of Maharashtra. So this is the applicability of labor welfare fund. Maternity benefit act, generally everybody knows the maternity benefit as well aware, and it is applicable to the IT industry also. Then coming to the Trade Union Act, this is interesting because Trade Union Act is generally applicable when the ID Act is applicable to the company. So most of the software companies are considering that this act is not applicable to us. But the definition is that doing manual and technical work, ID Act is applicable, standing order is applicable, and ultimately the Trade Union Act is applicable. So earlier the software company status was that they are the programmers and manager, team leader, and like that only. So this act was not applicable, but now the status of the software company is changing. Now most of the software company are in the say BPOs and like that only, call center and other. So their employees are working by hand in the office. So they are doing manual work and their payment is not very high. Their payment is around 15,000 to 25,000. So they became a worker under the law, and they have right to form the unions, and they have right to claim the benefits of the Trade Union Act. Recently, you find that there is an union formed by the IT industry in Pune, and government has also approved that union as a regular union. So in that union, you see that the manager of the company is also a member of that union, because they have declared that I am doing work personally and manually. I am operating the computer, I am operating the laptop, I am programming this, I am doing manual work. So based on that, the government has registered their union, and they have given all the rights to negotiate with the company. So this is the recent change from last years in the Pune particularly, and other majority these silicon cities, they are also forming their unions for claiming their rights. And the earlier system was issuing a on bench and ping systems, and they will be challenged in the court of the law and the labor office. So ultimately the Industrial Standing Order Act, as I told you, they are the work considered as a worker, so Industrial Employment Standing Order is applicable to them. If we don't want that Industrial Standing Order applicable to us, then we have to create our own business conduct guidelines, or like that only a documents internally, and it is to be published on the notice board, and it is to be signed by individual workmen, that instead of that these business conduct guidelines is applicable to you. So based on that, you have to take the action against the individual if they have mistakes, they have made mistakes, or any fraud or non-compliances point of view. Then Employment Exchange Act, this is also an applicable to all the company where 50 and above employees are there. Then it is applicable to companies. We have to take the registration, we have to notify the vacancy if the vacancy is there to the government. But this is an, I am frank opinion that this is a failure scheme of the government. Now it is not acting properly, and but compliance is there. We have to comply all the requirements on quarterly basis to the government. The apprenticeship of 1961, 40 and above employees, 40 and above employees, this Workmen Compensation Act is applicable to you, all the IT industries, and we have right to take an apprentices under the act for that is for the apprenticeship implementation purpose. And under this act, the employee has no any liability, and the company has no any liability for the PF, ESI, and other things. So it's a safe scheme from the government, at least for a year or two. So from that, the employee has no right for asking for confirmations. ESI, PF are not applicable to them. Then coming to the Maharashtra Private Security Guard Board Act. This is applicable to all the companies, particularly the IT industry. They are recruiting the guards from the private agency, uh, and there are some compliances, particularly, and the company is not observing that. If you are cross verifying, then it will be a challenge for the company. The Private Security Guard Board Act says that every guard has to be exempted from the government of Maharashtra by special GR. That we have to verify whether our guard is exempted from that act or not. Second thing is that every month that levy has to be deposited to the guard board. Whether our contractor has deposited that levy or not, that we have to ensure it. And minimum wages under the guard board act, we have to ensure. All these three compliances are compulsory. If it is not there, then liability will come on the principal employer. Then coming to the Payment of Wages Act. This is particularly for the blue collar workmen, blue collar, but right now this IT, BPO, and call center and other things, they're as good as the blue collar, but in soft, we call it as a staff category or white collar. But if you go to the by law and definition of the law, they are blue collar, and their definition is that there are some deduction allowed by by the law, and if the strength is below 1000, then we have to pay their salary on or before 7, and if it is 1000 and above, then 10th is the last date. We have to pay up to the 10th. Then there are some, particularly all the law applicable to around 2021 law applicable to the IT industry, I explained to all. In addition to that, there are some requirement that we have to display some name, their minimum wages, their manager name, who is the controlling authority for the gratuity, who is the labor officer, who is the shops and establishment inspector in your area, that we have to display on the notice board. This is the requirement of the law. And then one common notice has to be prepared and put up on the notice board. And all laws applicable to your company, that brief of the law, that is the abstract, has to be displayed on the notice board. This is the minimum requirement for all the IT industry, obvious labor laws or the stock laws. Thank you very much. Supriya,
Lovely.
I'm
So
handing over to you.
we have received one question put up by my team. Some participant, Ms. Shivangi, had asked this question, that are the changes going to affect the hiring patterns in IT? Whatever
No, I'm
changes
not.
are happening in laws, would that affect the hiring patterns?
Say, actually, all these laws, now there are different laws. The recent labor code, all the law merging into the 4 categories. So there all details will be published shortly, and but mostly, my opinion that there will be no any change in the recruitment pattern. The pattern only that PF is applicable on the total CTC except HRA and other things. So that we have to take care, because provident fund has to be calculated on total CTC except some bonus. Then your HRA is fair HRA. It is not 30-40% HRA. If it is fair 5-10% HRA is a fair HRA. Then variable incentives in a month. If the conveyance reimbursement is there, like that 4 or 5 is exempted from that. Remaining all are same. ESI is already applicable on the gross. So this is the major changes from the recruitment and calculating CTC point of view.
Wonderful. So she has added to the question that would they prefer contractual employment over permanent employment because of the changes?
Because of the changes, even the contract employment is also allowed by the government. So earlier there was only permanent and contract labor. Now this contractual employment as a new pattern to us. The company has right to recruit a person for a fixed term contract for a year, for a 2 year, or a project based like that only. So that will help us for taking a continuous liability on the company head. So my recommendation is there, go for the contract, fixed term contract employment, or you have to take an employee on third party role and work with you. So that will avoid the continuous future liability on the company
Lovely.
and
So,
outsource the total department.
so I hope, Ms. Shivangi, you would have got your answer. And sir, now that you are recommending that we should have a fixed term employment, I mean a fixed term contract people or people on third party payroll. So even here, as you had mentioned, around 20 laws applicable to IT industry, would the Contract Act still affect? So if I take, say, someone for just say 6 months project, okay, would the Contract Act still be applicable to me?
The contract, they are on your role, not on contractual role. If they are on your role, then contract act is not applicable.
Okay, okay. Even if
If
I
it is
take
on
for a fixed term.
yeah. We have to take on our role. It's a fixed term contract. Like earlier stage, when there is a person who is above 55 or 60, and we have been taking them as a retainer for some 1 year or 2 years. So that the same pattern now the government is allowed for the fixed term contract to the all, even all categories, even 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 years, etc.
One very interesting question has come up from Sandeep. He is asking, what about flexible working? Considering today's work from home situation, do you think that law will soon come up with the provisions for working hours?
Definitely, government has to give a thought on that. And now the particularly work from home trend is going to be very popular for the companies also, because company there are a lot of saving to the company space, light, everything, and that's why the company is also preferring from work from home situation. Government will also going to think over it on their working hours and other things. But
Lovely.
I'm not expecting very shortly. It will take some time.
It will take some time. Indeed, sir. So I had certain questions as you were telling us about 20 laws applicable. So POSH is something that we understand, but you spoke about workmen related laws. You spoke about LWF, which is Labor Welfare Fund. And I am right now wondering that labor typically means blue collars, workers working in either factories or at some construction site. But in IT industry, there are no such labors, right? So why is this workman related laws applicable to IT industry?
Say if how the government is by law deciding worker, white collar and blue collar is not a legal and official word. This is created by us only, because factory, those who are working on the shop floor, they are blue collar. Those who are working in the office are white collar. This is our definitions and our terminology. But if you go to the law say that working technically and manually and supervisory and managerial capacity. These are the law words. So if you go to the IT industry, those who are working manually and technically means they are working on the laptop, they are designing and they are giving output to them. They are they are not on their own boss. They are not giving instruction to their subordinates. So they have been instructed by somebody else who is their manager. So all these below category are a workman by any law, because they are doing manual and technical works and clerical or
Lovely.
supervisor. So that is blue white is our terminology. There is no any such types of word written in any law.
Lovely. I got so many insights today, sir, in spite of my working personally with you from so many years. But what made me very curious and very excited was that a trade union or somebody who has claimed that I am manually setting up the laptop or software or something like that, he or she can form a trade union. So that was really, really an great insight for me. What will be a quick tips? Say if some company really wants to do their own check after hearing to our live, what will be a quick tips that you will want to tell them कि 20 में से कम इतने ही basic laws तो आप check कर ही लो if you are adhering to it.
Yeah, so particularly just I'm going to read one by one law, which is then compulsory and everybody has to follow that law. One is the Shops and Establishment Act, that is registration under the Shops and Provident Fund है, ESI है, then payment of bonus है, payment of gratuity है, then your profession tax is there, then labor welfare fund is there, maternity benefit is there. Then sexual harassment is there. I have not spoken of sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is there. All these are the act which is has to be followed strictly, and contract labor act.
Lovely. So
So this,
by sexual harassment you mean posh.
yeah, posh. Sexual harassment is posh. Posh is also applicable to all the company, and now it is going to be very strict in future also. So everybody has to follow the POSH guideline 100% properly. Their quarterly meeting has to be conducted. Their minutes of the meeting has to be recorded, and everything has been kept on the record.
Lovely. Sir, I have a question. These days, I'm not sure if it is only for the IT industry. I think this question can be applicable for any industry. But somebody a few days back had questioned us, being the HR consultants, that they had one lady in their company who had joined 6 7 months before. Okay, and she was apparently not a confirmed employee. Okay, she was still under the probation period and wanted to take maternity leave. How that will be applicable with would all the clauses related to maternity leave will be applicable?
Yeah. Say the minimum requirement is that I just remember it is 180 days she has to work practically in the organization, or 1 year, whichever is lower.
Correct.
So that if that she has completed 180 working days or 1 year, so she is entitled to receive any benefits under the maternity benefit act.
Lovely. Superb, superb. So that means it is completely applicable to all of
All
who
companies.
have completed either 180 days or whatever you have said right now.
Yeah.
Superb, superb. I think we'll wait for a couple of more seconds if somebody has any other question. Otherwise, for me, it was very, very insightful. And as sir said, there were a couple of laws that you can immediately go back and check if if you are adhering to this minimum requirement. By the way, in the meanwhile, I just pop up with one more question, sir. Now, looking at the pandemic situation, most of the companies, small or big, are not able to have their own budgets of bonus. Okay, so there were payment cuts that we have seen in these days. We have seen not giving increments, because of the pandemic, and which is obviously understood, right? But how about the bonus? Because you just said that is a statutory bonus, and we can't escape it. So, would you want to tell us something about it?
Bonus act is a compulsory, and we have to pay 8.33% irrespective of loss, irrespective of profit or anything there. Okay, in the bonus provisions, if you go to the set A and set B, means available surplus and allocable surplus. So we have right to carry forward all the profit for next 3 years. So if you are in a loss for this year, there may be an available profit for last year to be distributed for this year. So that individual has to calculate that, and we have to pay the bonus from that available surpluses. So it is compulsory. There is no at all exemption from the payment of bonus act for the losses or profit or whatever.
Correct, correct, correct. So lovely. So, my dear audience, the HRs, the owners of the IT industry, and any other industry for that matter, but particularly today talking about the IT industry, we cannot escape from bonus. We cannot escape from minimum of 5, 10 laws that sir said. We will have to adhere to it. And I believe adhering to laws will not only make you a legal friendly company, but will also attract and retain talent because they are also called as social security laws. Right, sir?
Yeah, yeah. Social security act.
That's right. So if you want your people to be more productive, if you want best talent, cream talent from the industry to join your organization, irrespective of the size of your organization, then you very well know with the HR policies and good structure, you definitely need to have basic minimum laws in place. Right? With that, and with permission of Sir, I would want to announce free Fridays for all those who are watching us today. For till at least March 2021, we have announced free Fridays. You can book your slot with us with Cosmic Consultants, and we will get you available, Sanjay sir and the entire team of experts for 1 hour free consultation, right? For whatever it is, HR or compliance, the free Friday is the game. You can just contact us, but the only thing is you'll have to pre-book your slot so that we can ask our expert to be available for you at that moment. Right, sir?
Okay.
Right. So look, even without asking him prior, I'm just declaring and I'm just wanting him to make himself available for us and for our clients, for our viewers on every Friday.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Supriya.
Thank you so much, Sanjay sir, for being there with us throughout in our journey and for also being there today to our show. And I also want to thank all our participants, all our viewers who are watching us right now and who may also watch us later. Thank you so very much for joining us. Do let us know if you want any other topic from our end to be covered under HR compliance domain. Thank you so very much. Signing off, Supriya Kabra, Cosmic Consultants.